Welcome to the HubSpot user group from SEO to AEO, loop marketing versus inbound marketing webinar today. I'm very excited about talking about this, and this is a series of webinars that I've been doing through the HubSpot user groups that we run. Very excited about this one, and let's get this party started. Slovenia, Frank, good stuff. It's probably like whatever 10 p.m. there or something. So probably not, but you get the point. Thank you for introducing yourselves. Keep doing as you connect. Almost 8. There you go. I knew it. Very close. Connecticut, Jeff, how you doing? So I'm Gabriel Marguglio. I'm the CEO and founder of Marketing. We are a 23-year-old HubSpot solutions partner at a platinum level. We've been doing websites, SEO, inbound marketing. We became HubSpot partners almost 13 years ago. And from there, we've been doing video marketing, video production, full-on marketing, sales alignment. Long story short, we're here to talk about SEO again. So funny how everything's cyclical in this world. If you want to come on the camera, that's awesome. I love seeing beautiful faces every day. And there's going to be times where you can come off mute to ask questions too. But if you want to put on the camera, that would be awesome. So this is a video. This is a webinar series. We've been running these for 3 weeks now. There's another one next week. I'm going to share right now the 2 recordings for the last 2 weeks. And also I will share the link to register for the next one, which is next week. We did from SEO to AEO, how AI is redefining client acquisition, optimizing your content engine with video, webinars, and podcasts. Today, we're doing loop marketing versus inbound marketing. And next Wednesday, same hour, same channel for all the old people that used to watch TV when you would turn it with your hands and change the channel, and there were 3 channels. Next week is optimizing your HubSpot website for AI search. Very, very excited about this. Very timely. People are excited. There's some rockstar vibes here. It feels like on the first days of SEO when we were showing people how they were showing up on Google. So let's talk about this. Yeah, let's do it, Diane. Always here, every week here. I may continue to do it every week forever. Don't get me started. Very, very exciting stuff. So again, you didn't anything. All the recordings are there. The link is there to register for the next week, but also we're going to do a recap on all of this. So the agenda today is, first of all, we'll do a recap on AI redefining how client acquisition is done. We'll talk about the shift, the SEO. Is SEO finally dead? Maybe we do the tombstone again. We'll talk a little bit about this because if you came to the last 2, I won't bore you, but I want to give everybody a foundation of what we're talking about and why we're talking about it that way. Then we'll go into the evolution of inbound marketing and the loop. We'll talk about complementary methodologies, which are very important nowadays. We'll talk a little bit about the sales dilemma that's happening, with all these shifts. And we'll talk about how to create a content engine that works with the loop and that helps you be independent from your marketing team, from your design team, from all these different pieces with AI. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about loops. Again, let's talk about the recap on the last 2 events, how AI is redefining client acquisition and optimizing your content engine. We'll talk about more of the content engine later, so I won't touch too much into this right now. Search is definitely not about just links on Google anymore. It's about answers. AI overviews, ChatGPT, Perplexity, all these different things are changing how people discover things. They're having conversations with chat, not just looking at websites and going to your website and turning into a lead, et cetera, et cetera. So how do we stay visible? How do we work this out into our marketing strategy, sales strategy? So there's a whole evolution to this, and it has everything to do with, first of all, 60% of Google searches now end up in 0 clicks. This is not new. AI didn't do this. Google has been doing this for years. So we've already knew that Google was trying to trick the system before they had AI at the top. They were showing all kinds of results that were, skipping the websites. So just remember, we've been working on this for a long time. Now it's AI. I think AI, it's actually helping us in a lot of ways, and we'll talk about that. 70% of B2B buyers complete their decision journey before they contact sales. This is also not new. I believe that this number was probably lower, but we were taught it 10 years ago when we introduced inbound marketing for the first time. So this is just getting higher and higher. Now, what's interesting about this is that there's 3 times higher conversion in leads that come from AI. That means AI leads are higher quality leads. And it's obvious because they didn't just Google something and stumble on your website and maybe they become a lead and they don't even know. Just like when you get Facebook leads, they don't even know who you are. They might be completely fake. Those are very low quality. In this case, not only they went to your website, in this case, they had a whole conversation about whatever their needs are, their pains are, the solutions to that pain are. And does that ring a bell? Story brand, anybody? We'll talk about that in a second. But then they actually got to you. So if you actually get a lead from AI, those are very high quality leads. Last October 2024, someone contacted us and said, I went to ChatGPT, again, last year, not this year. I went to ChatGPT. I was working with this agency. Are there any other agencies like this one that I'm working with that also work with these methodologies and HubSpot? And the answer was Nextiny Marketing. It was us. And we got that client. And it was a long-term client. And we did a website and we did a full marketing strategy. So long story short, very, very high quality leads when it comes from AI. AI is becoming your new homepage. So let's freak out. Let's freak out because we're not ready. Because what do we do? How do we do it? All right, let's not freak out, guys. All right. Google is still 210 times bigger than ChatGPT in search. This is a study that Search Engine Land put together for us. Thank goodness for. I'm going to put the link right here. Just remember, Google is still your number one source of organic leads. And yes, a lot of people are talking about how we're losing Google traffic. We have multiple clients that have gained Google traffic this year. We have gained Google traffic this year. We were just talking about someone 10%, 15% more than last year. So Google's still huge. Google still drives a lot of people to your website, and it is your number one source of leads to your website. So just remember that. Don't freak out. Keep going, and we'll talk about that. So is SEO dead? Or will SEO be dead in 3 years because of AI? Well, no. And this is one of my favorite slides. I got this out of LinkedIn. What's interesting about this is that we've been saying that SEO is dead. This is an inside joke for SEO people and marketers out there. Since like 1997, when the search algorithm came out to live by Google, and then Google got AI, and then Panda, and then this and that, and all these crazy animal updates that Google had, and then ChatGPT showed up, and of course, SEO is dead. Now, ChatGPT can answer all the questions. Nobody's going to go to Google, and trust me, I don't go to Google as often. Google is great for certain things, and it will continue to be good, but that doesn't mean that SEO is dead. And what you see the graphic going up is actually the millions of dollars in SEO industry. The SEO industry, the more we say it's there, the more it continues to grow. The money being made by people doing SEO for other companies. So SEO is definitely not dead. SEO continues to be incredibly foundation for all the things that we need to do. Lazy SEO is like if you're trying to keyword stuff things, just create ChatGPT content, 2 paragraphs, and put it with a bunch of the same content with different cities. All of that stuff that people still say works, that was lazy SEO, don't work anymore. But SEO is still alive and will continue to be alive. Now, AEO is answer engine optimization, which means optimizes for the pages, but also for AI answers. And I'm going to share this article that we put together about this from the events that we're putting together, so you can read more about this. This is something that HubSpot shared our inbound. SEO was the 5 links. AEO is the answer. instead of keywords and backlinks and meta tags, and not instead, on top of keywords, backlinks, meta tags, and rank, we're going to use statistics and quotations and high authority sources. And you need reputation and repetition and reality. And we'll talk about how that is important because we live in the desert of the real. Morpheus told Neo on the Matrix movie. Sorry, spoiler alerts. It's been what, 23 years. I ruined the movie. If you've been here on the last 2 weeks, same joke every time. We live in the desert of the real. Absolutely everything can be faked, and it is being fake. You have these avatars. Some of them are like goofy cartoons. Some of them are the real thing, the person speaking. People are faking photography, videos, sound, music. Everything's fake. Art is fake. So in this world where everything can be fake, authenticity is your differentiator. You want to be real. You want to make mistakes. You don't want to be a perfect robot. You don't want perfect production that looks exactly like what you can create with AI because people will assume it's fake. You want crazy people like me making mistakes because English is their second language. And you want them to talk about you and what you do and the reality. You want your clients to talk about. You want your employees to be talking about. We'll talk more about this. So video matters. And this is going to be one of your differentiators. Authenticity wins. There's a human connection you cannot fake with AI. I asked today in the video bootcamp for marketing, sales, and service. I run that for the HubSpot Academy. It was today, the last session of 4 this morning. And I said, how do you feel when you see an AI video? And absolutely everybody agreed that they felt like not connected, like it was fake, like the feelings are constant. Everybody feels the same thing. Yes, it's nice to see Queen Victoria from a painting coming to life. There's some cool things you could do, but other than the clickbait, cool videos or whatever, it doesn't make you feel human emotions, which is what video is all about. So there's a multi-channel power of video that's incredible, and it's great for SEO and AI. So we'll talk more about that and the content engine in a second. But let's go back to what we're here for today. Now we know SEO is not dead. AEO is an evolution of SEO. There are things you can do to optimize for AEO. We'll talk about it. There are differentiators. There are signals that you need to send AI, and those signals are critical. We'll talk about that. But let's talk about the loop versus inbound marketing and how this affects SEO and AEO today. So this was inbound marketing, like 10 years ago. And it was fantastic. You could just like create a blog, do some keywords, put some forms on landing pages, send some emails and maybe automate some of them if you had enough people, filling up the forms. If you didn't, you would just do it manually. And then that's it. You would go from strangers to visitors to leads to clients. I remember showing this literally every day of my life. Selling inbound marketing was a piece of cake because it made sense and it worked. This worked great. Who remembers the beautiful years of showing this image and doing inbound marketing and everybody being happy? I'm telling you, I miss those years. They were easy. If I only knew how good we had it. Those were the easy years. So this is what inbound marketing kind of evolved into, right? Like the evolution of inbound marketing is like, okay, you needed SEO and ads and webinars and events and partnerships, and you needed to do They Ask You Answer because you wouldn't just blog about anything. You had to answer your client questions and story brands so the messaging is clear, and that was just attracting, right? If you wanted to convert, you needed to do conversion rate optimization and phone tracking so you don't lose the phone conversions, and heat maps so the website is optimized for conversions too. And you needed bots and chat and UX and UI. And if I tell you all the things, we'll be here for an hour. So this is what inbound marketing looks like today. You have tools like, you have methodologies like They Ask You Answer and Story Brand attached to this. You have tools like 7 cents to optimize send time optimization on your email marketing campaigns or sales engagement. You need more insights for your sales team. You needed to do more video because that created a lot more time site, and that was better for SEO. And you could also take advantage of other channels in social media or YouTube and things like that. So literally, inbound marketing is not this. Inbound marketing is this. And over the years, HubSpot introduced the flywheel because it's becoming more and more, it has become more and more cyclical, right? Like, yes, before you could get promoters that would turn into strangers and you start over, but now you have to be attracting, engaging, and delighting people on a regular basis to move them through marketing, through sales, and through customer service, so they become from strangers to promoters, right? And that is it's a true proven framework methodology that works, and it continues to work today. Now, what's the difference between this and the loop? Well, the loop is introducing a fast cycle. First of all, with the introduction of AI, is introducing AI as the center of a lot of these activities, where you'll get insights. Well, you'll be able to create content and engagement at scale because you can create your own loops. You can run your own loops independently. You mean one person, not a whole company, and the whole company can also run the loops by themselves. Like there's a lot of things in here that have everything to do doing what we are doing, but faster at scale, with more insights, more data, and getting that data to make it better, to optimize it better in a faster way. So at the end of the day, expressing is giving AI all the important points of view of who you are, who you work with, what the pain of your ideal clients, ICPs, are, what the solution to those problems are, why you're an authority, how you've done it for others, and here's the data, and real points of view to make sure that when you create content, the content is going to come from you. It's going to have the right information. Content, I mean a blog, a video, a webinar, a response on an automatic bot, whatever that is going to be, a sales email, whatever content you're creating for engaging with your ideal clients, it's going to be customized and personalized to who you are by using AI. That's expressing. Tailoring is using all that data and AI to deliver those experiences. If it's marketing, it's going to be creating a loop so you can turn a webinar into a blog, into an email, into social clips, and have video to send signals to AI and things like that. And also delivering, I don't know, if you're a salesperson, knowing which piece of content the lead engage with, and from that creating an email that engages with that piece of content, and automating that process, for example, with a bot, or with an agent. And we'll talk a little bit about this later. So amplifying is diversifying your channels. Not only just writing a blog and waiting for Google to send people with intent, but also sending all the signals out there. So not only you rank on Google, but you also rank on, and you're cited on AI. We'll talk more about that in a second. And then evolving means doing these loops faster and faster and learning from them quickly. Instead of running 3-month campaigns, you're running weekly loops, or you create different loops internally for different reasons, for different things. We'll talk about that. At the end of the day, there's a whole framework you can take on from what I shared at Inbound. At the end of the day, it is not that different from what we're doing today. I would even argue that inbound marketing is very, very, very good for today's marketing strategies, and it works the same way SEO works. What you need to add is layers of insights, intelligence, AI to make these loops faster, and to get insights from AI so they get better over time, faster too. I wouldn't just use inbound marketing by itself. We have been using complementary methodologies for years that still work with inbound, that have come from inbound or have worked with inbound over the years. a lot of you are familiar with this. I'm talking about story brand. I'm talking about they ask you answer. And I'm talking about the brand affinity marketing methodology that Wistia put together. So these three methodologies send the right signals for authority and credibility, which are two very important things for AI. If you're doing SEO and now AEO, you want to become the authority and you want that credibility to be high, your brand credibility to be high. So how does story brand, they ask you answer, and brand affinity marketing connect with inbound marketing, first of all? And how do they help us do AEO today? Well, the first thing is inbound marketing needs clear messaging. That's what story brand is all about. And it's all about the journey of your ideal clients, right? Buyer personas in the past, ICPs today, whatever we want to call it. You want to make sure that someone goes to your website or watches your videos or reads your articles, and they can identify themselves with who you help and how you help them, right? Immediately, the message needs to be very clear. The pain points need to be clear. Their needs, your ideal clients' needs need to be clear. The solution to those pains and those needs need to be clear. You as an authority for that solution need to be clear. Testimonials, numbers, case studies, whatever it is, that logos, whatever it is that can showcase that you are the solution to that, you're the recommended solution, and then making it easy for them to work with you and to start and a call to action. That's story brand in a nutshell. That is the framework. You can use it amazingly for home pages on websites. You can build your whole website around it. You can build your story brand for your business and use it every day to do all your marketing. I recommend it for videos. When you're creating a video, homepage video, do it in a story brand way. Ask ChatGPT, write a script in the story brand methodology for my homepage video using all this content. Boom, that's it. So they ask you answer is answering your ideal client's questions, which again, it is SEO and it is inbound marketing. That's what we preach. That's what we say you should do when we're doing inbound marketing. Why would you blog about anything else other than your ideal client's questions? When you say top 5 things you should do for SEO in 2021, that was answering your ideal client's questions, because everybody was like, oh, Panda, what are we going to do? Literally, you're answering your ideal client's questions. And be courageous. Answer all the questions, pricing, comparisons, other people doing the same thing you do. Be as courageous as possible. Answer your ideal client's questions, and that will build over time. Brand affinity marketing is all about having people spend time with your brand. You creating valuable, entertaining, educational content that people spend time with you. So you can have your brand have that affinity because you're creating that human connection with them by them watching your video series, your webinars. Like today, you're here, you are a part of my brand affinity marketing strategy. You're spending time with our brand, Nextiny Marketing, and the HubSpot user groups today to learn some of these things. This is brand affinity marketing at its best. We're creating this human connection. Diane was just like, Gabriel's the webinar beast. That wouldn't be, I wouldn't ask for a better compliment. I want to be the webinar beast, right? Like at the end of the day, this brand affinity creates people spending time on your brand, wanting to come back, wanting to, the same way the series of webinars have had people coming back to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, and you're probably going to subscribe to the next one too, and you're going to go watch, some of you are going to go watch the recording of the last one. Why? Because I'm trying to help. I'm not selling you or overselling you anything. And at the same time, there's some human connection that creates that affinity. And you will come back and you will tell other people, and that's what brand affinity is all about. All of those are great inbound marketing, methodologies that work great with inbound marketing. So at the end of the day, the fundamentals of inbound marketing still apply. We're going to talk about the differences and what else you need to do, because that's what we're here today. But do not forget the fundamentals of inbound marketing. Do not throw it all out. Do not stop doing SEO, creating helpful human content that directly answer your ideal client's questions. Continue to do that. through videos, webinars, through blogs, through emails, through every single thing you do. Answer your ideal client's questions. That will send signals to AI too that you are actually doing the thing. You are having conversations with other humans that have issues. You are answering those questions. You are real. You're doing the thing. Great SEO still works. And now it helps you show up on Google AI and ChatGPT because great blog articles show up on ChatGPT and show up on Google AI. This is incredibly important to know. If anybody's telling you, stop blogging, stop doing SEO, don't think about keywords, only think about answers, do FAQs. Yes, there are things to do. We'll talk about those, but keep doing great SEO. Great SEO is great AEO. It's the foundation of great AEO. Story brand messaging, conversation optimized pages, clear call to actions, forums, chat, call tracking, all of these great things are still the backbone of your website and your lead generation strategy. Do not stop. And even more importantly, if you were doing it right, you were doing some kind of video strategy. Video has been huge since before the pandemic. After the pandemic, it was obvious that everybody was going to engage with more video, and it's been growing since then. So webinars, podcasts, creating videos, video series, podcast series, being human with your audience is a huge part of AEO and how AI gives you credibility, because everybody can be fake. So you need to be real. People are craving real content, but also AI and Google, of course, take those as signals that you exist, that you're not just faking it like everybody else, going to ChatGPT and saying, write me an article about this. No. The article's coming from this webinar, from all the content, from all your questions, from all my answers, from our conversation. All those are real human signals that are sent to AI, so AI can say, oh, there's credibility. They're doing the thing, they're saying they're doing the thing, they're teaching the thing, and there's customers talking about the thing they're teaching and they're doing. This is real. Let's put them as the answer, right? Diane says, so interesting. For years, I've suggested our sales reps and consultants to keep running lists of every question every client ever asked. Oh my gosh, Diane, you have no idea. We would just go to our clients and say to them, go ask your customer service representatives and salespeople, what are the top 10 questions? And those are your first 10 blogs you're going to write. Top 10 questions, the first 10 blogs. I would recommend, if you haven't, go check out the Ask You Answer. I think there's a new version now. That the Ask You Answer book is amazing. We have done it over a book club inside the company at Nextiny multiple times. StoryBrand, the same thing. Those books are great. And when they're complaining that they don't know what to write about, blogging, webinar, etc., I ask them, what's on your question list? Of course. And you know what we used to do, and now we're doing it through webinars, but we used to just have them in front of a camera and answer the questions there and turn that into a blog. And if the video was good, we just put it as a video online too. Yeah, thank you, Lindsay, for sharing the Amazon link for the Ask You Answer. Great books, both of them. I would totally recommend reading them, even if there's the old version. But again, authenticity is more important than ever. So video, webinars, podcasts, these are more important than ever. Now, there's a sales dilemma also. And I'm talking about sales because, yes, Loop is the Loop marketing methodology and framework, but inbound marketing is more than just marketing. It's inbound marketing and sales, right? At the end of the day, we're here to get revenue. We're not here to just get leads or get visits to our website or get people to know we exist. So what is the sales dilemma today? I was literally having this conversation with my friend Nick Saul, which I love, such a great guy, used to work at ton of companies. And we talked about this, which is buyers are busier and more distracted than ever. Again, I'm going to say that again. Buyers are busier and more distracted than ever. The world is going faster and faster and faster. And now AI is allowing us to go even faster, which will make us even more busy and more distracted than ever. Now, the opposite side of that is that salespeople are more frustrated and lost than ever. I'm going to give you a real example. I was just having a conversation with our managing director, Kara, and I was like, Kara, I had this lead. They showed up They schedule a meeting. They didn't show up. They canceled it. They schedule another meeting. They didn't show up. They cancel it. They schedule a third meeting after, again, multiple emails, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And at the third meeting, in the past, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I would have said, the first time they didn't show up, I would have said, I don't know if this lead is even worth it because this person is not serious about having a conversation. How would I work with someone like this that can't even show up to a meeting? That's outrageous. It's rude. There's so many things I could tell you about it. Well, this person doesn't show up the third time, and the fourth one, they cancel. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do anything else with this person. I'm going to just give up because why would I even bother? 2 weeks later, I'm going through my leads, and I'm like, I'm going to give this guy a call to see what happened. Well, long story short, I get him on the call. He's like, oh, thank you for calling me. I had so many issues, blah, blah, blah. The story of everybody nowadays. I'm so busy. They cut my budget. I was waiting for this other person. The person didn't show up, etc., 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 etc. Not excuses. It's what's happening. The world is going faster and faster and faster, and people are more distracted than ever. They have a million things they need to do, and their bosses, you know what they're saying? Oh, use AI and go faster. So at the end of the day, you're trying to talk to a person. It gets harder and harder. So at the same time, salespeople are like frustrated because in a normal world 5 years ago, that person wouldn't have been a good lead. I have a meeting with this person next week. So at the end of the day, we need to remember that people are getting more and more and more distracted, and it's harder for salespeople to actually create a connection. So this is the moment we're giving salespeople easy tools to engage better, and insights for their leads is more important than ever. And when I say insights, is AI as part of the loop is going to give insights into which leads, not just like engage with the website or whatever, but what they're engaging with, what the message should be, if there was a quote created or not, et cetera, et cetera. And HubSpot is creating all these connections. Again, you need to have a CRM that has the right data and has the right structure, garbage in, garbage out, right? Remember that if the data is not there, this is not going to work. So at the end of the day, AI and HubSpot and the loop can help also your sales team by creating the right content, first of all, and having the right brand. Remember, one of the biggest issues with salespeople is they always, they don't have the right messaging. They're saying their own thing. We need to create packages and PDFs and things so they continue to show the branding that we put. Well, if all the branding is expressed as part of the tool, AI knows what the brand is and where the content is coming, and the bot is responding from where the website pages are, the knowledge base, the blogs. Then salespeople can take all that context, and when they create emails or blogs or articles or whatever it is that they're doing, it's going to be on brand because it's already there. If we talk about Tailor, if we use AI to create experiences, in this case, for salespeople, creating emails and creating, having the bot answer the right question with the right answer without the salesperson trying to figure out what the answer to this question is, because the answer is coming from the website, from the blogs, from the knowledge base. Amplifying, having all this content, these blog articles that are answering the ideal questions, a webinar they can share, a recording, a quick clip they can share on social that is answering a question from an ideal client. This gives salespeople more tools, more insights on what people are asking, because we have the data inside the CRM. And then iterating quickly. And as AI agents grow and become better, this will become easier and easier for salespeople too. Any questions so far? Put in the chat. Is this panning out to what you were expecting? Any questions so far about the differences between the loop and inbound marketing? Where to begin, Melissa? Oh, we'll get there in a second. LOL. Well, where to begin? The answer to that question is do not just throw out everything you've been doing, right? That's where to begin. Where to begin is going back to your inbound fundamentals, going back to your SEO fundamentals, and doing it right, and doing it for your ideal clients and answering those ideal clients' questions. And if you're not doing that is where to begin. Where to begin is taking a webinar and turning it into a blog and sending it on social media. We'll talk about that right now with creating the content engine for loop marketing. That's where to begin. But just do not throw away all your SEO fundamentals, all your inbound marketing. Thank you. I was wondering how, or if it's possible to track citations. I know it's possible in SEMrush with an extra page. Yeah, there's a lot of conversations about this. There's a lot of conversations about, how to track what AI sees. HubSpot has an AEO grader now, like the website grader. Let me share that link so everybody has it. HubSpot AEO grader that gives you an idea how different models are actually. Here's the AEO grader. That's a good beginning for you, Carl, if you want to start with that. Yes, SEMrush. We use SEMrush, and we're paying the extra, and we're starting to learn a lot of that. One of the things that you can do now with HubSpot is AI it's a new referral source. So it's a separate source on your report. So that's a good beginning. Running an AEO grader is a good beginning. But I'm going to say, go to ChatGPT and ask about your company. Ask what it knows, what it is. Like, I would say that kind of testing, that's what I'm doing. I'm going as a regular person on a completely separate account, and I'm like, what are some agencies that know this and that? And having a full-on fake conversation with AI until I see the signals to our company. I see our articles being cited, and I see, okay, this article is ranking highly in Google, and now it's being cited in AI. These are the connections. Definitely the SEMrush. I think that's the best one right now, but it's still the beginning of all of this. So we don't know citations, how they're happening and how to track them yet. SEMrush is the best we can do as of now. So AI trust signals offered through market sharing group is a good tool. Perfect. Awesome. Check that out. We will definitely check that out too. So Wistia has been doing analysis on video and webinars for a long time. I won't bore you with a whole video strategy. These are stats that show the unused potential of webinars, because webinars are something that people work a lot on, promote them, then they do it, and then they forget about it. So what Wistia is promoting, been doing this for a long time, is that your webinar strategy is your video strategy. Now, webinars haven't been working a lot for people, and they can't track a lot of things. But at the same time, they've seen that 40% of the engagement happens after the webinar with recordings. We all have this issue. And it happens 3 or 4 months later. So this is a huge untapped potential for webinars. And you are probably already running them. You're already doing webinars. You are recording them, you're producing them, you're promoting them, you're doing all these campaigns around them, and then nothing happens. So just understand that you can do other things later to reuse that content. And this could become your content engine that is fueled by video, but not with high video production, but webinars that you're probably already doing, or they're easy to produce nowadays with the tools we have. And this is what Wistia has seen: high engagement after the fact, a lot of possibility of creating clips and articles and blogs and emails and all these different things around the webinar to make sure that that continues to grow. And that, again, I don't want to say replaces your blog strategy, but is definitely fueling it, and it could become a loop of its own. And this is what I'm trying to show. When Melissa, you said, where do we start? I would say, where do we start? We start by reusing a lot of the things we do to create better signals for AI to grow, for you to grow in AI. So Diane, you said, how important is content syndication to the success of AEO? Do we need to do non-one sum of many contributed articles or industry publications, websites. Yes, those help because that goes to your credibility. So, for example, creating a case study or having an industry, me having an article on HubSpot.com helps me because I'm getting a link not only, but also it's to the credibility that I'm not only talking about myself, but other people are talking about me, or I'm talking with other people about the things that we're doing. That goes to the signals that send the credibility part of what you're doing. So that's still, again, it's great SEO, which means it's potentially great AEO. And in this case, it is. Going back to traditional video workflows, they were super hard. Running a video series or doing videos consistently is hard and sometimes even expensive, and the cameras and the video editors and a lot of things. But doing a webinar wasn't that easy either. So again, not as a plug, Wistia is one of our incredible partners, but Wistia actually put together an amazing webinar platform that if you are not using it, you should check it out. If you're doing webinars, you should check it out. It integrates incredibly with HubSpot. You can run the whole webinar thing on Wistia. The video goes automatically on Wistia. They create the landing pages. They send the emails letting people know that they register, that the webinar is tomorrow. But all of that data also goes into HubSpot. So you can run the webinar beautifully. You can run polls and questions and Q&As. The platform is beautiful. You can understand more engagement because it has all the Wistia analytics embedded in it. But also it gives you more insights because this is a webinar. So it tells you who actually asked questions, who was part of the surveys, who was actually engaged, which they were actually, the page of the webinar was the active page while they were watching. So all of that engagement data is not only on Wistia, but you can get it in HubSpot. And then it could become part of your lists and your automation in HubSpot. So all of this, when you work with Wistia and HubSpot, can create that engine very easily. Now, you can do it with other things, and you can track with other things. What we know is that video closes 3 times as much into clients, and we have a case study to show you this. We've run it a long time ago. When people engage with video, we've seen that people close 3 times as much into a client from a lead because they engage with video. Now, the 2 problems we've seen is consistency and measuring success. We'll talk a little bit about this, creating video series, webinar series in this case, like the one we're running right now. It's a great way to create content consistently. You can create webinar series, create pages that look amazing, that people can engage with the content. And at the end of the day, when you create webinar series, it builds momentum. People re-engage with the content feeds the content. So I run the first webinar, that clip went to LinkedIn and other places, and we send it to the client. I'm sending it on emails. I created a blog. You know what that is? That is a loop. At the end of the day, if you do this and you do it right, what you can do, and this is a lot from our last webinar. That's why I'm going so fast. What you can create is your own loop where you create webinars, which is video, that fuel your content engine. That loop turns that webinar into a clip on social and a blog for SEO and AEO. And you can turn it into a podcast, and you can send it on email to re-engage with your audience. And this improves AI and search, and you can restart. What's crazy is that I'm running these loops by myself. Before, if I wanted to run a webinar, I needed a lot of people to do it. I needed the marketing team to do it. I needed, the designer to build the design for the graphics. I can do that on my own. I can put the webinar on Wistia or run the hugs like these. I can take that recording, put it on Wistia. It is transcribed automatically. I can take that transcript, put it on ChatGPT, create a blog article that's optimized for humans, for AI, for SEO. I can do that, all of that on my own. When, by the way, I used to not be able to write blogs because I had a hard time with English as a second language, and my editors were like, it's easier for us to write it from the beginning than from taking something you wrote and fix it, okay? Nowadays, if that starts from your webinar, the content is already there, the value is already there. The flow is already there because a webinar needs to flow. It can't be just like up and down and going in that direction and that direction. And it needs to make sense. Well, if that is there, it's very easy to turn that into an article. At the end of the day, AI is helping you repurpose faster, which is what the loop is all about. But you need to use AI to scale, not to replace what you were doing. And good examples of that is transcribing a webinar, adding chapters, feeding the transcript to ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever tool you're using, generating the blog articles, the FAQs, the clips, and we'll talk about that, the specifics of AEO in a second, a checklist that I have. Generating short clips with AI and having the short clips being already edited for social. All of that I can do on my own using AI tools to create my own loop. And what's interesting is when we did the analysis, why are we getting more visits from Google this year? The most successful articles were articles that I created, or most of the most successful articles were articles that we created from webinars that turn into articles from ChatGPT. And you would say, well, hold on, aren't those signals that you're creating things with AI and Google is not going to like it and things like that? Well, no. This is a good example of a meta prompting that we did. I said, I want to create a prompt with you, ChatGPT. I want to create a prompt that's going to be the best prompt for you to turn my transcript into an article. I'm doing webinars. I want you to create it into an article, but I want this to be optimized for humans, for SEO, for AI. I want some social posts around it. I want all of this. Here's the transcripts. Here's the slides. Tell me how to ask you about this. And this is what ChatGPT, after several iterations, came up with. You're an expert content strategist. I'm telling this to ChatGPT, right? Like I would copy paste this into ChatGPT, and with all these instructions, and don't forget, at the end is then ask me any clarifying questions you need about tone, audience. I would also include several articles we wrote already, so ChatGPT already knows. And then if you test those articles are less than 30%, sometimes even less than 20% marked as AI written, not that this is as important as it used to be, because Google at some point didn't like AI generated content. Now everything's AI generated content. But what this tool, ZeroGPT, is telling me is that 75% of this content is considered human because it came from my webinar. It didn't come from ChatGPT regurgitating this thing over and over again. So let's talk about the AEO checklist. Let me some questions here. If we can't use Wistia because we're committed to Zoom, what tools for novices? Oh, well, Zoom gives you a transcript. That's it. Now you can still use Wistia. You use Zoom for your webinars. You take that recording and you put it in Wistia, and then all the other tools are still there. Even if you don't use the webinar tools, there's a good integration with HubSpot for Zoom. Take that recording, and Wistia will still do the transcript, allow you to do the video clips. So a lot of things like that, Melissa, you can still do with Wistia if you use Zoom. Or you can do it manually. Take that transcript, put it in ChatGPT from Zoom, and go from there. Let's talk about the AEO checklist before we finish here. So number one, optimize for questions and optimize for entities. We talked about this on our first workshop, but this is important. When you're writing article, when you're creating content, when you're creating the structure of your webinar, optimize for your ideal client's questions, but also optimize for your entities. What are entities? People, places, brands, products, concepts. Make sure that those are very clear when you're talking about your webinar content, your blog articles, everything you're doing on social. Know what are those entities and those questions, and answer those questions through your content. I'm going to share some other articles here that might help with these. Also, structured data. Make sure that you mark things with structured data in your website. We'll talk more about structured data next week when we're talking about optimizing the website. But for example, if you're using HubSpot, knowledge bases, blogs, those are semi-structured pieces of data. A knowledge base already is a question and an answer and tags and an author that is done specifically with structured data thought in mind. When you're writing a blog, the blog has, the title, the description, the author, like all those things. Make sure the author of your blogs, the author page has the bio of the page, the picture of the person, the links to social media. Make sure those things are real so those signals go to the right place. Structuring your data means instead of just posting a bunch of content and expecting AI to figure it out, is for you to tell this is the this is the that. When do you have to do it specifically? For example, FAQs, and that's another pro tip right there, number 4. Doing FAQs, which again is answering ideal client's question. For example, for a webinar, that blog that has the content from the webinar, and this is the example of that blog from my first webinar that I just posted. This one, you'll see an FAQ section. Those questions come from you, from the webinar, from humans that ask me questions. We had a human conversation, a real conversation about your challenges, and I answer your questions. That is what AI wants. AI wants you to answer people's questions. And because these are real questions that happen on the video, those are human signals that are being sent to AI to make the credibility part of it better for us. So how do you tell AI those are FAQs? You do the FAQ, and then you go and include the structured data, which by the way, you can create with ChatGPT too. Say, create the schema for the FAQ for this blog, and then you paste it on the header as part of the blog. That will send the signals that those are FAQs. And then you go test it. You can test it with the Google schema tool and see what this structured data is. Again, we'll talk more about this next week. If you post a blog with a video that is on your website, your address is at the bottom of your site on the footer, and you have an FAQ, you have structured data for your organization. You have structured data for a local organization because you had an address. You have structured data for a video. You have structured data for the blog itself because the video is embedded and it has the description, keywords, all these things. That's structured data. And then you have structured data for the FAQs with the question and answer, question and answer, question and answer. All that structured data is what sends signals. It's great for Google, by the way. We should have been doing all of this. We've all been talking about schema for a long time, and we've been doing it. Now it's even more important with AI. And then creating videos and using transcripts to send those reality signals, right? And to engage with humans at a human level, but also send the right signals to Google and AI. And then keep doing great inbound and SEO. Just don't forget that. Where do we start? By doing great inbound and SEO. The rest is on top of that. That is good enough. If you're doing great inbound and SEO, that is good enough. So key takeaways here. SEO is evolving. Don't fight it. Loop it. I had to do it. It's my ChatGPT joke here. Authenticity is your differentiator. AEO is caring about AI and humans and iterating quickly. Build your content engine. Feed it with videos and webinars. Webinars are incredibly useful for this and easy to produce. And it's easy now to create those loops of content engines. Keep your inbound marketing and SEO foundation for AEO. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing it right. And use AI to multiply, accelerate, and repurpose, not as a replacement. Make sure that is true. Nobody wants to see your avatar saying fake things to fake people. All right, guys. Thank you. That's it for today. Please rate us on the chat. Tell us from 1 to 10. If I can answer any questions, I'm going to be here. Again, we have another workshop next week. I'm going to put the link here and the recording to the other ones. Make sure you register for the next one. We're here to help. Also, we have a 20% off on HubSpot websites and HubSpot health checks this month. So if you have any questions, I'm going to put here my email. You can email me at gabriel@nextiny.com. If you want to take advantage of this special, we're doing 20% on all HubSpot websites and all HubSpot health checks audits this month. And if I can in any way, let me know. Any questions, guys? We have some minutes. I can be here. All right, 5 stars, Diane. I'll take that as a 10 then. I was like 5. Who gave me a 5? I get it. All right, do
I
you
have
want
a
to come off
question.
mute? Go ahead.
Yes. So I keep getting stuck on the note that you had between lazy and like good SEO. I recently worked with someone, which is valid. I recently was speaking with someone in the same industry as me, telecom industry, and about 8 months ago they started doing like location pages where they were doing like services for VoIP in each city in South Carolina. It's a smaller company in a smaller area, but they've actually
Yep.
seen a lot of success with it. And I'm wondering if it's dying but not dead yet, or if that's just straight up lazy SEO, or where that kind of falls itself.
I think that's a great question. First of all, I appreciate you asking the question because we get this question all the time. That is not just lazy SEO, it's being penalized by Google. So, what you need to understand is when it works, it's great because it will work. Google is not humans looking at your website and saying, oh, yeah, this is machine learning and this is human and this is real. It's an AI trying to figure out what your website is. And when there's good signals, then you'll rank and it'll work. And some of these things still work. And that's the problem, that lazy SEO people will continue to do it because it works. Now, if you get penalized because you're trying to trick Google, which at the end of the day, what you're trying to do by creating, and again, we're going to differentiate it in a second, by creating, let's just say, the same page over and over again with a different city, right? What you're trying to do is do keyword stuffing and repeated content, which are two names that Google hate. Google hate keyword stuffing and repeating content. So when you have repeated content, you'll be penalized for repeated content. So even if it works for a while, it is not worth getting penalized in the future because I've seen so many websites that grew and then died and never came back. I used to work for a company that used to do things for like Italian cars, Ferraris, all these things. And I was so excited. We were doing all this amazing content and they had their own writer and the writer was writing that content. And all of a sudden, SEO went from it was like from nothing, it was a new website, to 10,000 visits a month in 3 to 6 months. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
And all of a sudden it went to 10 visits. And they were all looking at us saying, what did you do, SEO company, wrong? What we realized is that the dude that was writing the content was copying other people's articles. He was just taking an article from the BMW website, from the Mercedes-Benz website. And you know what happened? Google caught up to that and it killed the website. They had to close that website and never, ever use it again. So long story short, Google will get you and AI will know what you're doing even better than Google. So try to follow white hat SEO rules, not keyword stuffing, not, repeated content, and it'll be worth it in the long run. Now, there are ways to do what you're saying, which is creating real content for each location. So what we do when we do local SEO is, first of all, Google by business, having the addresses, creating citations, all those important things you need to keep doing. But then you create, instead of a page that says the same thing, services, this service for this city, this service for this city, this service for, no, you create an article. It's like how people do this in this city for this service, and write a full-on article. Now it's easier than ever to write content. So why are we repeating the same thing when we can create individual content, valuable content from real experiences, from real clients, maybe testimonials in this city for this service. Boom, real testimonials, real clients talking about that specific location. That is going to be good for SEO, for local SEO. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you, Anya, for the question. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Anything else? Anybody else? I saw someone else was on camera. Melissa, go ahead. You want to come off mute?
Okay. I had just dropped it in the chat, but love the idea of using Wistia to actually run your webinar, but we have committed to Zoom right now. And so
yeah,
what are the tools you might recommend to someone novice like me to be able to take that webinar recording and then go cut it up into reels or shorts?
I would say Canva is great. Descript is great. Those are great tools. I'm going to say Descript is one of my favorite tools. You can put the video on Descript and you can literally edit by changing the text. You can cut the text and it edits the video automatically. Now, I would say Wistia has a free version. Try it because it's worth, even if you commit it to Zoom, you can download the video on Zoom, upload it to Wistia, and start working with Wistia from that part. And you can start playing around with that. And I would say it's worth it, but I would test Wistia, Descript, and maybe Canva. Everybody's using Canva. Everybody knows how to use Canva.
I checked Wistia and the free one didn't allow me to do that, that I had to be on the plan where it would let me upload the video. I think there's
a limitation there, and it might be that the clips require you for the paid. But definitely check that one. But again, Descript is one of the most powerful free versions I've seen out there for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I'm going to put it right here, descript.com. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Any other questions? Let me see if there's anything here. Good story. It's not like people wouldn't still do that today. I have to jump. Anybody else? Any other questions, guys? Are you all robots? And I'm just looking at Anya here, the only human being in the connection. Maybe you're all robots.
Good stuff, Gabriel.
Hey, yay, human. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions, Dono?
I'm good. Thank you, though.
Awesome. Thank you for being human. We need those.
I try. Just don't ask anyone else.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. We are semi-robotic, but we're still human. Not ready for my close-up. We're all wanting to learn from the smart questions. Yes. Does Sarasota Hug over do in-person meetups? Jesse, we used to do all in-person meetups, and it was amazing. And then the pandemic happened. So the Sarasota HubSpot user group, which is where you are, by the way, has expanded, and we get people connected from all over the world, which is amazing. We might do some in-person events in 2026. We're trying to see if that happens. But the problem is that people don't show up. They barely show up to webinars, and we're working on that. The in-persons are still a challenge. Jesse, when we used to do the in-person events, we had people showing up from Orlando, from Miami, from St. Pete, like you. Totally agree with you. I would definitely, after hours geek out for sure, Diane. Again, here's my email. I'm going to put it again. Email me more to set up a Zoom. And if you guys are close, we can do it in person. More than happy to connect and meet more humans. We need those humans to fight the AI revolution. I mean, to use AI to get better and better over time. All right, everybody. Awesome to be here. Love that you guys enjoy the session. If you have any questions, you got my email, you got my LinkedIn. Please connect, and let's keep the conversation going. And I'll see you next week on the next one, okay? Take it easy.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Great week. Bye-bye.